A tumor that has no access to blood vessels is extremely limited in how large it can become. In fact, it cannot grow much bigger than the tiny tip of a ballpoint pen. At that size, it simply doesn't have enough oxygen or nutrients to expand further, so its growth remains stalled. Everything changes the moment blood vessels reach that microscopic tumor. Once a blood supply begins feeding it, growth can accelerate at an astonishing rate. A cancer that starts out no larger than the tip of a pen can increase in size by as much as 16,000 times within just 2 weeks. That's why the process of blood vessel formation is such a critical turning point. When this system is taken over by cancer and the body can no longer regulate it properly, tumors gain the ability to grow aggressively. This process is known as tumor angiogenesis. My work in this field began during the early efforts to understand how we could stop cancer by targeting its blood supply. The goal was to develop biotechnology-based treatments capable of starving tumors by preventing new blood vessels from reaching them. Over the years, those therapies became a major part of modern cancer treatment. What turned out to be even more fascinating, however, was what we discovered when we used the same scientific testing methods on foods. The results showed that more than 100 different foods contain compounds that can help interfere with the blood vessels tumors rely on for growth. I still remember one of the early experiments. We were using a testing system designed to evaluate cancer drugs that block blood vessel formation. Out of curiosity, I added some green tea to the experiment. The results were remarkable. The natural compounds in green tea, known as polyphenols, were incredibly effective at stopping the growth of blood vessels that were feeding cancer cells. The outcome was so impressive that if I had told the laboratory technicians those compounds came from a pharmaceutical company instead of a natural source, they probably would have been celebrating a major breakthrough. It was another reminder of how powerful nature can be. One of the most studied compounds in green tea is EGCG, a type of polyphenol known for its anti-angiogenic effects. Resveratrol, a natural compound found in red grapes and red wine, has also demonstrated a strong ability to interfere with the blood supply that tumors depend on. Another fascinating example is genistein, a phytoestrogen naturally found in soy. Research has shown that it can help block the blood vessels that nourish breast cancer tumors. This finding directly challenges the common misconception that soy is harmful. From time to time, headlines appear claiming that soy contains anti-nutrients or suggesting it should be avoided. As a scientist, those claims can be surprising because the evidence tells a very different story. Soy contains valuable nutrients, including protein and phytoestrogens, that have been studied extensively. What's important to understand is that phytoestrogens are not the same as human estrogen. Their structure is completely different, and they do not behave in the body the way many people assume. Rather than acting like harmful estrogen, they can actually help block certain estrogen effects. In addition, they possess anti-angiogenic properties that may help reduce the blood supply available to breast tumors. These effects have not only been observed in laboratory research, but have also been documented in studies involving breast cancer patients. This is one reason why soy continues to be an area of great interest in cancer prevention and nutrition research. Tomatoes provide another example. They contain lycopene, a powerful natural compound that has also been studied for its potential role in supporting the body's defenses against cancer growth. Many of the foods we've long considered healthy plant-based staples are revealing an even more impressive side. Researchers are now discovering that the natural bioactive compounds inside these foods don't just provide nutrition, they can also help the body defend itself against cancer by interfering with the blood vessels tumors need to survive and grow. Take blueberries, for example. Their deep blue color comes from natural pigments called anthocyanins. These compounds do far more than give berries their vibrant appearance. Studies have shown that anthocyanins can support the immune system in powerful ways without triggering harmful immune overreactions or autoimmune responses. Instead, they help strengthen some of the body's most important immune defenders, T cells and natural killer cells. Think of these cells as elite soldiers that patrol the body, searching for threats and helping eliminate them before they become serious problems. Anthocyanins essentially help equip these defenders with better tools to do their job. What's remarkable is that consuming about 1.5 cups of blueberries daily has been associated with significant increases in T-cell activity, up to 88% in some studies. Athletes who regularly include blueberries in their diets often maintain higher baseline immune function as well. It's not necessarily about giving the body superhuman abilities, it's about helping the immune system consistently perform at its best. Even more interesting is that anthocyanins appear to offer a dual benefit. While they help strengthen immune defenses, they can also help reduce inflammation. This is important because many people assume that boosting immunity automatically means increasing inflammation. In reality, the goal is to have a strong, responsive immune system while keeping unnecessary inflammation under control. Blueberries seem to support both of those objectives at the same time. Another food that stands out when it comes to immune health is broccoli. Broccoli contains a group of natural compounds known as sulforaphanes, which contribute to its distinctive flavor and many of its health-promoting properties. Similar compounds can also be found in vegetables like kale, chard, and other cruciferous greens, but broccoli remains one of the richest sources. Research suggests that sulforaphane can help stimulate T cells, further strengthening the body's natural defense systems. But there's an important tip that many people overlook when preparing broccoli. Most people focus only on the florets and discard the stems. However, the stems actually contain roughly twice the amount of sulforaphane compared to the tops. Instead of throwing them away, they can be used in a variety of recipes. Blending them into soups is an excellent option. A simple broccoli soup made with vegetable stock and herbs can be both delicious and a great way to maximize the nutritional benefits of the vegetable. If you really want to take your sulforaphane intake to another level, broccoli sprouts are where things get exciting. These tiny sprouts, harvested just 3 to 4 days after germination, contain dramatically higher concentrations of sulforaphane than mature broccoli. In some cases, they can contain up to 100 times more of these beneficial compounds. Researchers have even studied how broccoli sprouts influence vaccine responses. In one study involving healthy young adults receiving flu vaccinations, participants who consumed a broccoli sprout shake showed a dramatically stronger immune response compared to those who did not. The findings suggested that these sprouts could significantly enhance the body's ability to respond to immune challenges while still keeping inflammation in check. One thing I've noticed about human nature is that people rarely enjoy being told they can't have something. The moment someone says, "Don't do that," a part of us becomes curious and wants to do it anyway, sometimes just to see what happens. It's a natural reaction. That's why approaches based entirely on restriction often struggle. Most people don't respond well to feeling deprived. Human beings naturally resist having things taken away from them, which is why focusing on adding beneficial foods and positive habits can often be far more effective than constantly concentrating on what should be avoided. One thing I've learned is that most people want to enjoy life without feeling like they're constantly sacrificing everything they love. We all want the best of both worlds. That's why when I worked with patients and talked to them about nutrition, I rarely focused on taking foods away from them. It's easy to tell people what they shouldn't eat. In fact, there are plenty of voices out there already doing that. Traditional nutrition advice often relies on fear, guilt, and shame. People are made to feel bad about their choices or judged for enjoying certain foods. But that approach rarely inspires lasting change. Instead of making people feel guilty, I prefer to help them feel empowered. People naturally enjoy foods they love, and there's nothing wrong with that. What I've found is that when people discover that some of the foods they already enjoy can actually support their health, they're much more motivated to make positive changes. In my book, I discuss around 200 different foods that help activate the body's natural health defense systems. I often challenge people to go through that list and find nothing they like. Almost nobody can do it. Out of 200 foods, nearly everyone finds several favorites. When that happens, I tell them to start there. If you already enjoy a food that also happens to be good for your body, then you're already ahead of the game. From that point, it's simply a matter of adding more beneficial foods you genuinely like. As your knowledge grows, your relationship with food begins to change. You realize that enjoying your meals and supporting your health don't have to be opposing goals. You can do both at the same time. This idea is at the heart of what I call an anti-deprivation approach. Instead of constantly thinking about restrictions, focus on what you can add. Spend more time filling your diet with foods that strengthen your body and less time obsessing over the foods you should avoid. When you consistently add healthy choices, they naturally begin to take up more space in your life, leaving less room for unhealthy habits. The real goal is to continuously support the body's built-in health defenses. These include angiogenesis control, stem cell regeneration, microbiome health, DNA protection, and immune function. When you're regularly nourishing these systems with the right foods, you're building a strong foundation for long-term health. And let's be realistic, nobody eats perfectly all the time. There will be days when you indulge in something you know isn't the healthiest option. Maybe it's a favorite treat, a special occasion, or simply because everyone around you is enjoying it. That's part of being human, and it's okay. The difference is that when your health defenses are consistently supported, your body is better prepared to handle those occasional choices. Think of those defenses as a protective shield. They help keep you resilient even when your diet isn't perfect every single day. That's why I believe this approach is far more sustainable than strict diets that demand constant discipline and restriction. Most extreme diets don't last because they're difficult to maintain. I'd rather help people feel confident, capable, and in control while making choices that fit naturally into their lives. One food that perfectly illustrates this philosophy is kiwi. These small, fuzzy brown fruits might not look particularly impressive from the outside, but when you cut one open, you're greeted by a beautiful bright green center surrounded by a stunning pattern of tiny black seeds. I've always liked kiwis, but I never paid much attention to them until I started looking into the research. What I found was surprisingly impressive. Kiwis are packed with vitamin C and fiber, making them a nutritional powerhouse in a very small package. The vitamin C in kiwi acts as a potent antioxidant, helping protect the body's cells from damage. Research has shown that eating just one kiwi per day may help reduce DNA damage by around 60%. Even more interesting, studies suggest that consuming 3 kiwis daily may support the body's natural ability to repair damaged DNA by a similar amount. That's an incredible benefit from such a simple food. You can eat kiwi on its own, slice it into yogurt, add it to fruit bowls, or blend it into smoothies. It's convenient, refreshing, and has a unique flavor that's slightly sweet with a hint of citrus. Beyond its antioxidant properties, kiwi is also an excellent source of fiber. In fact, it's considered a powerful prebiotic food. Prebiotics help feed the beneficial bacteria living in the gut, and those microbes play a major role in overall health. Research conducted in Singapore found that eating even a single kiwi can begin shifting the gut microbiome in a positive direction, encouraging the growth of healthier bacterial species. That's a remarkable effect from one small fruit. What I often tell people is that once you learn something valuable about a food, it's hard to forget it. The next time you walk past a kiwi in the grocery store, you'll remember that it does more than just taste good. You'll remember that it's helping support your DNA, your gut microbiome, and your overall health. That's really the purpose of everything I teach. It's not about memorizing complicated nutrition rules. It's about learning enough to make healthy choices feel natural. When good decisions become second nature, taking care of your health becomes much easier. If you enjoyed this video, you'll definitely want to watch the next one from The Weird Lab. There's even more fascinating information waiting for you there.